Hey there, guys. That was kind of a weird, creepy entrance. I'm just lurking behind the Blu-rays, waiting for you to come closer. Anyway, guys, how are you? This is part 2 of my entire movie collection. If you guys haven't seen part 1, I did every single DVD that I own. Click that right there if you want to check that out. But right now, it's time to talk about every single Blu-ray that I own in my collection, and I'll be honest with you, just looking at it makes me tired. I want to go lay down in the fetal position and think about my life. Anyway, let's just get started with this stack in front of me. First up, I got the Mission Impossible trilogy set on Blu-ray. I was never a huge fan of the original Mission Impossible movies. I liked the first one, but the other two after that were just kind of mediocre and forgettable to me. But Ghost Protocol, I really liked. That was a lot of fun. I think Brad Bird did a great job with it. He made little 5'5" Tom Cruise seem like a badass. And Tom Cruise always runs like that. You ever notice that? Drive. You know, the silent but strong, serious, weird type who wants to stomp your fucking head in an elevator. Drive was a movie that I thought it was okay the first time I seen it, but then I watched it again on Blu-ray and I really fell in love with it. I noticed all the little nuances about it. Just a great movie. And Ryan Gosling. Alright, next up, Face Off. I want to take his face off. A great Nicolas Cage movie, John Travolta. Con Air. Put the bunny down. Or put the bunny back. It doesn't matter. Anyway, Con Air, great over-the-top action movie. You're best. Losers say they're going to try their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. Another Nicolas Cage movie. Armageddon, okay? A little bit over the top, but I always liked this movie. I remember seeing this movie in the theaters when I was younger. Short story. I went to see this movie by myself when I was 12 years old. I don't know why. And then I ended up going to the wrong showing of it. Like, I went to the hour later showing. So my mom came to pick me up. She didn't know where I was. The whole theater was looking for me. And they're like, why'd you wait an hour and a half before the movie started? And I couldn't give them an answer. I don't know what the hell was wrong with me. I think I was trying to run away from home at the time. Hannah, a great movie, a little blonde girl who kicks ass, but she knows all these she knows kung fu, she knows martial arts, she knows how to use a sniper rifle, but she doesn't know what electricity is. That just kind of was astonishing to me. Father, what is electricity? Apocalypse Now, a badass movie, Vietnam. The Quick and the Dead. Sam Raimi Western movie, very Sam Raimi-ish. Quantum of Solace. Oh, I don't want to talk about it. Casino Royale, great movie. This is probably my favorite 007 movie. Just this re-energized the franchise. Daniel Craig. I remember seeing this movie in the theaters, and the first opening scene, the first action sequence when you have Daniel Craig running over the construction site, just badass. Transformers, Dark of the Moon. Okay, not, very Michael Bay-ish. Transformers Revenge of the Fallen was just, I'm sorry, Michael Bay, you tried to go a little bit too commercial and you helped write some of the script. I think you shouldn't do that anymore. The original Transformers, I don't care what anyone says, you can say the other two were shit and I probably can't argue with you, but the first one was a lot of fun. This movie, this was something new. We didn't see transforming robots on the screen. This was the first time we got to see it. I remember seeing this back in 2007, and I was like, that was pretty fucking cool. Inception, a movie that showed you can be original and still be a blockbuster at the same time. Phenomenal movie. And it's not like a Michael Bay movie. It's big, it's action-packed, but you got to think about what's happening in the plot rather than someone lighting sparklers and robots. Gone in 60 Seconds. I always kind of liked that movie. Angelina Jolie with her lips in this movie look like they were so chapped they want to fall off. Hook. You mean to tell me Peter Pan is coming here? Right here? I hate Peter Pan. You rude coot bag of pre-food chew, dude. I always love Hook. I want to go to Neverland. Except I don't want to eat imaginary food. I just want to kill pirates. And then I want to put Tinkerbell in a cage. Rufio, Broken Arrow, Christian Slater at his best. I remember I walked into a costume shop one time, and the lady said I looked like Christian Slater. She just kept looking at me, and I was like, hey, do I know you? And she's like, you look like Christian Slater. She's probably in her mid to late 30s. I don't know. What do you think? Escape from New York, a great John Carpenter movie. I always liked Escape from New York, and they always talked about remaking this. I don't know. I love Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken. The name Snake. Last Action Hero. Remember seeing this movie in the theater with my dad. I want to say something about this movie. The Ripper, the bad guy in this movie, who plays like a generic bad guy movie villain, but he has an axe and he's creepy and has a raincoat. That guy always scared the hell out of me. I don't know why. I'd like to see him in an actual movie, like taken seriously. iRobot looks good on Blu-ray. Kind of a bland movie though. Backdraft, a great movie. Whoa! Don't fall! Don't you fall! Damn you! You see those reflexes? I caught it. Come on, there we go. All right, Backdraft, a great movie. There's a guy with the nickname Axe in it. It made me want to be a firefighter. Point Break, my favorite action. Well, my second. I don't know. It's either my first or second favorite action movie of all time. It was never about the money, man. It was about us against the system, about showing that the human spirit is still alive, while everyone else is inching down the freeway in their metal coffins. We're gonna keep this. You know, I want to go rob banks after I watch this movie. Then I want to try to surf, but I don't know how to surf. Waterworld. How much for the little one? Paper. Definitely a fun movie. That's all I can say about Waterworld. A Christmas Story. To be honest with you, I don't know why I bought this. Not exactly a movie I want to go back and watch every year, but it looks damn good on Blu-ray. Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. Definitely not my favorite Pirates of the Caribbean film, but I actually haven't even watched this yet on Blu-ray, and I don't feel like I want to. I don't know why I bought this, to be honest with you. I guess just to complete the collection of the pirate movies. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Now this movie, do you guys remember the scene where the one voodoo lady turns into a giant lady and then she turns into lobsters or crabs? Like, the guy writing that script, the scene in the script is just like, I'm fucking tired. She turns into crabs and crawls away. It's like, gee, what the hell happened there? Dead Man's Chest was okay. It was an okay sequel, but I still prefer the original Pirates of the Caribbean, Johnny Depp. This one actually was, I think, overall the best of the bunch, and it wasn't bloated. Now we're getting into some more Disney animated movies. You know what, real quick, let's talk about this. Ben-Hur. This badass big box set. Ben-Hur is a very big, epic movie. You know, save the Jews, as they would say. Just a great movie. The chariot scene stole the movie. Great looking Blu-ray. Okay, now let's get into these. Pick those up. There we go. Snow White, the first animated Disney movie. Megamind, I don't know what that's doing in this mix. Kind of a mediocre modern day animated movie. Tron Legacy. I really, really liked this movie up until they went to the dude's cave overlooking the grid. I still like some. I really enjoy the visuals of the movie though. Cars, in my opinion, well, it's not the worst Pixar movie anymore because Cars 2 took that spot, but it's hard to watch this movie again and again for me. Beauty and the Beast. Let me say something. I like this movie, but it's not one of my... This is kind of, to me, one of the girlier Disney movies. This was kind of like the one that was hard for me to get into. I don't know, it's just too girly. I mean, you had like... what'd you have? You had... spoons and forks and silverware talking to each other. I don't want that. I want lions and demons and people in cages, you know? Lion King. Now, this is a great movie. This is a movie I remember watching with my dad. And when I forgot his name. Why did I do that? When the king, the Lion King, when he dies, not Mufasa? Mufasa, yes. When Mufasa dies, I got a tear in my eye, and I get it to this day. The Incredibles, sequel that Pixar won't make because the fans want it too much. Anyway, this is one of my favorite Pixar movies. Just a family of superheroes, and I like Dash, the little kid that can run fast. What am I talking about? I like the stretchy woman too. I like that she has a lisp. James and the Giant Peach, Sleeping Beauty, Ratatouille. Tangled. Now let's talk about Tangled just for a second. This is one Disney movie I remember going to see, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to like this very much. It looks a little too girly, but I started watching it, and Mandy Moore's voice really fascinated me. I know this princess is digital, but she's just so, I don't know why. I want to put her up in a little tower, but I'm going to cut her hair so she can never get away. Dinosaur, a very kind of forgotten Disney movie. It's okay. The visuals look pretty good, but just kind of a bland story. Wall-E, a lot of fun. Even though if they borrowed a lot from the concept art of Short Circuit Johnny. Monsters, Inc., A Bug's Life. The Adventures of Tintin, one of the best motion capture movies in my opinion. Just a lot of fun. I never knew much about Tintin, but you watch this movie, it's fun, it's adventurous, it looks great on Blu-ray. I can't say enough. Some people say I have hair like Tintin, maybe not anymore, but Fantasia and Fantasia 2000 on Blu-ray. I picked this up at a pawn shop for like $7. I remember this was on Amazon at one time for like 30 something. That made me feel like a real man. Toy Story 3. The one scene where they're all about to go into the fiery pit of hell. That scene, I was like, Jesus, that's pretty deep for a Pixar movie. Looking into the fire and embracing it. They're toys, but you're like, Jesus, they're gonna melt. Toy Story 2, and my favorite, Toy Story. This is probably my overall favorite Pixar movie. I remember seeing this when I was younger and just thinking, imagine not knowing what CGI and Pixar movies are, and you go to see this as a young kid in the theater. You're used to animated, hand-drawn movies, and you're sitting there watching these toys come to life, and it was fucking amazing. I remember watching it. Okay, next up I got the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory Blu-ray. One of my favorite movies. I mean, this movie's so bizarre. It's like they don't make movies like this nowadays. They try to, but they're all just commercialized. This movie was really, it was a pioneer. I mean, Oompa Loompas with little fucking orange guys who slave labor in a factory and get paid with chocolate. If I could run a factory like that, I would be very rich. Except I'd make iPhones, not candy bars. Next, where am I going here? Let's go this way. Okay, let's go. These are the comic book movies in my Blu-ray collection. We have Spawn, not the best way to start it off there. Batman anthology. A few movies I like out of this, but really I don't want Batman Forever or Batman and Robin, but sometimes you gotta put movies like that in just to remind yourself what good movies are. The Spider-Man trilogy. The third one's just Spider-Man 3. Eyeliner, Tobey Maguire tries to be like an emo guy, and his worst thing that he does is I think he doesn't hold the door open for somebody. X-Men trilogy. Last Stand, I get why people don't like it. It was kind of bland. Brett Ratner is just a very, okay, yeah, Hollywood, I'll do whatever you want, just pay me. But X-Men 2 was great. It's my favorite of the bunch. And you have X-Men First Class, a very flawed movie. A lot of bad things about it, but a lot of good things. And I like the tone, I like the look, and I think if they would have worked on it a little bit more, it would have been a lot better. But I'm really looking forward to the sequel of X-Men First Class. I like the direction that they took it in. Batman Begins. This was the movie I waited for all of my life. I was like, I always wanted a Batman movie like this, and when I seen the trailer for this and the movie itself, I seen it like 6 times in the theater, loved it. And The Dark Knight, a sequel to a comic book movie that lives up to the hype. It rarely happens. Iron Man, Marvel's first attempt at a actual comic book movie, and it paid off. A really good movie. I love Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr., they got the best possible guy they could have to play him. Iron Man 2, in my opinion, a pile of garbage, mediocre bullshit that was a little too bloated. It was a big letdown. And at some points in the movie, you're just like, what are they doing? How can they... There's like 6 minutes of action in this 2-hour movie. I don't know what the hell... I don't know. Thor, a surprisingly decent movie. I would have preferred a little more scenes on Asgard, but I hope the sequel definitely takes us deeper into space and it kind of stays there. The Incredible Hulk. A lot of people say they didn't really like this. A lot of people think it's mediocre. I found this movie entertaining. And what other comic book movie can you think of that in the climax of the movie where the good guy versus the bad guy fight for 20 minutes and actually go hand to hand for 20 minutes just kicking each other's ass? Because in this movie they do it. Abomination and the Hulk fight, I love that at the end. Hulk smash! And then he chokes him with a fucking chain. Captain America First Avenger, pretty good. I definitely like the first half a lot better than the second half. The Green Hornet, it was okay. It was okay. It was a lot better than I thought it would be. But The Watchmen, R-rated comic book movie, Zack Snyder. I mean, this movie went dark, it went gritty, and it looks great on Blu-ray. And there's a lot of scenes in this movie I enjoy. There's some people might complain that there's a little too much blue glowing man. You know, the thing that dangles. You know what I'm talking about. Weenus. A little too much blue man weenus. But like I said, that blue man weenus looks great on Blu-ray. Sin City, great movie. My favorite part about this movie was I'm forgetting his name. I forgot his name. Mickey Rourke's character. You guys know what I'm talking about. The guy with band-aids all over his face. Anyway, I loved his storyline the best out of this movie. I think most people did. Superman the movie, gotta have that. V for Vendetta, one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. And when this came out, not a lot of people were talking about this movie when it hit theaters. It was just kind of like, it came and it went. To me, this blew me away. I mean, the script, the story, the action, especially when they shaved Natalie Portman's head. I mean, I don't know why. I was fascinated by that. I had dreams about it for months. And the actual V, Vengeance, Virtue, Vendetta, I can't even say more than 3 V words. Hellboy 2, good movie, fun. Kick-Ass, one of my favorite movies of 2010. And Hit Girl stole the movie. I definitely can't wait for the sequel to this. I was a huge fan of it. I've watched this like 20 times. Scarface, Al Pacino. What are you doing, Bubblehead? Fly, pelican, fly. She can't even have little babies because her womb is so polluted. I'm sorry, I can't do a good Cuban accent, but neither can Pacino. Anyway, The Steelbook, great movie. About a guy who wanted everything. He got it, and then he got shot down. But he didn't go out without a bang, you know? The Hangover Part 2. It's got a lot of trannies in it. I remember watching this, and I remember watching it in theaters and thinking, okay. And I don't know why I wanted it so bad on Blu-ray, but I got it, and I was like, that movie was very, very, they got lazy. Equilibrium, a very over-the-top movie. At some points it feels a little B-rate, but I really like Equilibrium. And Christian Bale in this movie is just a pure badass. The Green Lantern. The Green Lantern. I'm sorry. Fast 5. A pleasant surprise. I remember seeing this and thinking, wow, fuck yeah, they're doing what I want them to do with the Fast 5, franchise. They're kind of making it like a big over-the-top action movie. And you know what? The style that they made this movie in, kind of the style that they actually, it looked like it was a nice big budget movie. That's what I wish they would have done with the Expendables movie, is had the guy who directed this make the Expendables movies. If you guys are familiar with both movies, I think it'd be a good fit. Vertical Limit. A movie that not many people talk about nowadays, but I remember seeing this movie in the theater, and this movie was like a thrill ride. You really had an adrenaline rush when they were, running and jumping off the mountains and bombs were going to explode. Kind of a forgotten movie, but I always liked it. Wizard of Oz, a classic movie. I always wanted to be, a little boy who had to wear ruby red slippers. I go to, what the hell am I thinking? The Land of Oz, and then I meet 3 guys. One's a scarecrow, one's a tin man, the other one's a lion. And then they all kidnap me and ask my family for ransom. 300, one of the best Blu-rays in my opinion. Just badass. Law-Abiding Citizen. I actually meant to trade this in a long time ago. It was a decent watch, but definitely like a one-watch kind of movie. And I think I might, maybe I'll trade that in. Walking Tall. The Rundown. I like this movie. Peter Berg directed this movie, who also directed Battleship, but this movie was about 5 times better and cost about 1/10 the budget. Just a good, fun movie. Live Free or Die Hard was an okay sequel to the Die Hard franchise, but I'd never liked the way this movie looked. It looked like it was like an FX TV show. It looked like it was like a made-for-TV looking movie to me. It didn't look like a film. It looked like a TV camera. I know I'm not making much sense, but that's just how I felt about this. In my opinion, the best Die Hard movie was Die Hard with a Vengeance. They went bigger, they went better, they went into New York, it had Samuel L. Jackson in it. Just so many gritty, raw scenes in this movie. I mean, they went balls to the wall for this one. And the original Die Hard movie, classic 80s action movie, I Am Legend. I always liked movies where people were all alone, left on, by themselves in a city to do what they want. And I have to agree with some of the things he does. He goes to the video store to pick out a movie, and then, he returns the movie. I like the little things like that in this movie. The only thing I didn't like was the overly CGI'd zombie creatures that look like garbage. The Island, probably arguably one of Michael Bay's best movies. Scarlett Johansson in this movie. This is when Scarlett Johansson was in her prime and she was just so juicy looking you wanted to squeeze her. The Expendables, I remember seeing this and feeling very let down the first time, and I just wanted more. So what I did after watching The Expendables, I just watched, Predators and then Over the Top. Fright Night, the Jurassic Park trilogy. The only one I love part 1, part 2 is good, part 3 is just complete and utter shit. But Jurassic Park, I mean, that is when I'm seeing Jurassic Park for the first time when I was little, I can remember watching it in the theater. It was dark, and I didn't really understand the movie. I was very young. This movie came out in '93, and I remember crying, and my dad taking me out of the theater, and I think he took me home after that, and I always hated myself for that. I was like, why the fuck did we leave Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, one of my favorite movie franchises ever. I mean, just a fun, adventurous movie that screams the 80s until you get to part 3, and then you gotta scream early 90s. Anyway, Marty McFly, hey Doc, let's go back to the future. Marty, Avatar. I like Avatar, and it looks great on Blu-ray. I'm not gonna hate on it. It was a fun movie. I remember loving watching this in the theater, and I get that the story wasn't the most in-depth, but it had some cool action scenes in it, so what'd you want? What you want Schindler's List from it? It was good. It looked fun, and plus the blue alien, Naturi, it doesn't matter, did a lot for me. Dazed and Confused, one of my favorite movies of all time. A movie that was a coming-to-age story that really captured the 1970s, and something about the 1970s, I just feel like a guy like me would have fit in a little bit better. I would have been Banyan, who drives around in the primered muscle car with a paddle trying to hit kids. How Do You Train Your Dragon? Another movie that surprised me when I seen it. I was like, wow, that was a pretty damn good movie. The Mummy Returns, very over-the-top, kind of has a B-rate corniness to it, but a lot of fun. And the original Mummy, which would, in my opinion, probably is Summers, the director of the movie, I think is probably his overall best movie he's directed. Stephen Summers? Okay. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. A lot of people were talking shit about this movie before it came out, but when the movie came out, it was a critical and financial success, and I can't wait for the sequel to this movie. I really love this movie, and I think Andy Serkis, who did the motion capture work for Caesar, was phenomenal. This is a great movie. I feel like watching this again right now, too. The Social Network. I really enjoyed this movie. I loved the way it looked. Fincher did a phenomenal job. Just a brilliant film, and it's basically, it explained a lot of this generation's or this culture's. It talked about Facebook, damn it, and Facebook, hate it or love it, it is a part of our everyday society, unfortunately. The only reason, to be honest, the only reason I use Facebook is to go back and look at girls in high school that I never had a chance with, and I look at them nowadays, and I still fantasize. King Kong. My favorite part of this movie is when King Kong fights the two deformed T-Rexes or there are 3 of them, and he like breaks their fucking jaws open. That scene right there is a badass fight scene, and it's one of my favorite of all time. The Day After Tomorrow, Robin Hood, one of my favorites. Kevin Costner didn't even try to do an English accent, and that's okay by me. And this Blu-ray looks like shit, by the way, but I love the movie. Mortal Kombat, another guilty pleasure of mine. All right. Cliffhanger. Home Alone. Gotta love Home Alone. You don't gotta love it, but the only thing you have to do is, if you leave your kids at home, just, you know, maybe not do what they did in this movie, you know. It's like, it's like, just call the police more than once or twice, you know. They're going to have to go back over there a few times. Sylvester Stallone in the Rocky Undisputed Collection, all 6 Rocky movies. And Rocky 5 doesn't count. Tommy Gunn, I'm sorry to say, what the fuck? Rocky 5, I'm sorry. That is not a real Rocky movie, and I never accepted it. And there wasn't even a boxing match. They had a street fight, man. Come on. It ain't about doing your best, it's about being your best. And that was my Stallone impression. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, one of my favorite movies of last year. Just, Rooney Mara. Yeah, I like that. I really enjoyed her in this movie. Just a dark, evil movie that makes you feel wet. Master and Commander, definitely an underrated movie. A really great movie that takes place out at sea, and you really get a sense of what life was like on a ship back in the 1800s. Phenomenal movie. Big. Tom Hanks, you gotta love him. He makes you feel warm inside. Another movie that makes me feel warm inside is Ferris Bueller's Day Off, another favorite one of my 80s movies. I based my entire high school career on this movie, except I didn't wear a leopard vest with a leather jacket, and my best friend's name wasn't Cameron, who always wore a hockey jersey, but very similar. The Italian Job, Warrior, one of my favorite Tom Hardy movies. Van Helsing, a very B-rate, campy, corny movie. This movie, I always enjoyed watching this movie, especially around like Halloween time. It's just a fun movie. And it goes over the top, and I get why people think it's shit, and I don't disagree with you, but I enjoy watching it. The Usual Suspects. What am I talking about? Didn't I talk about that I don't know. Okay, Good Will Hunting. I love the one scene in this movie where he just goes on like a 6-minute rant about baby seals and clubbing baby seals for a $1.95 gallon of gas. Great movie. Jackie Brown, Castaway. I love Tom Hanks. Castaway, phenomenal. 21. I don't really ever want to watch this movie again. Blood Diamond. An odd movie that not many people probably want to watch over and over again, but for some reason I've watched this movie like 10 times. I just love Leonardo DiCaprio playing this kind of mercenary type role where he's just a greedy bastard. I just emphasize with it. 2001: A Space Odyssey, beautiful Blu-ray. The Matrix, the Reloaded and Revolutions, doesn't matter. I never really liked either one of them. And that begs the question why I bought them on Blu-ray. District 9, a movie that blew me away. You know, this movie was made for $30 million. It makes you wonder how they waste so much money on other movies, you know, like Battleship, you know. $200 million versus $30 million. And this one's a lot better. Star Trek. A movie that I watched the first time, I was like, it was okay. And I watched it again on Blu-ray, and I really started to fall in love with it. Just a fun movie. And, oh, okay, here we go. Get to the chopper! Predator. Got it, the classic 80s Schwarzenegger. Independence Day. Terminator Salvation, which I don't hate, but I don't love. I felt a little cheated, but some secretly reason enjoyed the CGI Schwarzenegger at the end. Terminator Rise of the Machines. Now, say what you will about Salvation, but to me, this is the worst Terminator movie of the entire bunch. Just a very overly produced Hollywood movie. And I'm sorry, the chick in this movie as the villain was hot. I would buy into her like in a romantic comedy, but being this badass cyborg, I'm sorry, Schwarzenegger would have crushed her fucking skull. T2, my favorite action movie of all time. Terminator. Alien 3, Aliens, and the original Alien, all look great on Blu-ray, by the way. There we are. Star Wars. George Lucas went back and altered everything he possibly could have, but you know what? It's Star Wars on Blu-ray, and Empire was always my favorite. So, all right, where are we going here? Blow, Johnny Depp. That sounded... Blow, starring Johnny Depp. A movie about a drug dealer, basically. And I like this movie. I was always on the side of Johnny Depp in this movie, except he got a little too greedy for his own good. And a movie that not many people talk about nowadays. And I think this is one of Johnny Depp's best movies. Leon the Professional. American Beauty, a movie that one day will become my reality. I will be a middle-aged guy who my wife doesn't love me. She's cheating on me with Larry, the real estate agent, and I will be fantasizing about my... Oh, and by the way, I probably will work out naked in the garage. Gladiator. Just big, badass, epic action movie. One of Ridley Scott's best, in my opinion. I love every scene in this movie. It's just... This movie takes me places, you know? And Forrest Gump, one of my favorite movies of all time. And this is... I know it's kind of cliche to say Forrest Gump's your favorite movie, but this movie really does give you every single emotion that you can possibly think of. It makes you laugh, it makes you cry, it gives you adventure, it gives you a story. You know, it takes you different places, it takes you through time. It just has all these little features that I love about movies, and it throws them all into one. To Kill a Mockingbird, Fight Club, another one of my favorite movies of all time. With a great twist, and that house that they live in, that dilapidated house, I'm sorry, I couldn't sleep there. I'm very germophobic. I couldn't sleep in a fucking mildewy house like that. Platoon and Saving Private Ryan, probably my favorite war movie of all time. When they storm the beach in Normandy in this movie, that just makes you feel like you're there, you know? Braveheart. Pulp Fiction, probably my favorite Tarantino movie, looks great on Blu-ray. Lord of War, in my opinion, a very underrated movie. One of Nicolas Cage's best movies. He plays an arms dealer. A lot of funny Nicolas Cage lines in this movie. I can't actually remember any of them right now. I just tried, but my mind went blank. This movie made me want to sell guns, you know? The Karate Kid remake, surprisingly not as bad as it could have been. American History X, great movie. Kingdom of Heaven, Cinderella Man, Troy, another underrated movie. If you guys haven't seen the unrated cut of Troy, definitely go check it out. It's gritty, it's raw, a lot of blood splatter. And plus, the fight scene between Achilles and Hector in this movie, Eric Bana, that's a great raw fight scene. You know, it's not over the top. It feels like two men fighting. Inglourious Bastards, The Prestige, Heat, one of my favorite heist movies. I really like Heat. I feel like watching that too. Zack and Mary, a movie that I actually watch probably a couple times a year. I don't know why. Maybe I'm addicted to porn. I don't know why. There's a lot I like about this movie, and I think I like Kevin Smith as a director. I notice all of the faults that he has, but there's something that he makes his movies kind of like I mean this in a good way, kind of amateurish, and I enjoy that. There's something about that I've always enjoyed. The Patriot, another underrated movie, one of my favorites. Collateral. This movie makes you feel like you're out in the middle of the night. You know, you got Tom Cruise with gray hair. Gangs of New York, badass Scorsese movie. Oh, don't you know it's Fargo? Well, I done told you, Bob, we don't have any damn cars here. Goodfellas, Shawshank Redemption, Andy Dufresne never bought another Blu-ray that day. I love the Shawshank Redemption. This is a movie that even as a young kid I remember watching back in like 1995 and thinking, wow, this is a really good movie. And the more I watched it, the more I liked it. So, Jarhead, Swordfish, Halle Berry, Naked Boobies. Benjamin Button, you want to get out of here, talk to me. That was my Australian accent. I'm sorry if I offended an entire country. But Road Warrior, I can't wait to see the Road Fury, the new Road Warrior or Mad Max movie that they're making. Apollo 13, Tom Hanks, stuck in space. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Well, yeah, I know what you're thinking. That was a Nicolas Cage impression. The Matrix, by far the best of the entire bunch. Just a movie that really defined the night. Like, this is one of the movies that you would say defined cinema in the 1990s. They did things that you've never seen before. Seven, great dark movie. When you watch this movie, you just feel dirty. You know what I mean? Big Lebowski, one of my favorite comedies of all time. I just love Jeff Bridges in this movie. Well, hey, man! You know, King Kong, the original King Kong. Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood playing a badass. Deliverance. This movie, I remember I seen this movie a long time ago when I was a young kid, and then I remember years later my friend wanted to invite me on a kayaking trip, and I for some reason I thought we were just going to get raped. Taxi Driver, one of my favorite, this is probably my favorite Scorsese movie. You got, you know, Travis, this taxi driver who just hates everyone. The streets are filth, everyone's a whore, you know, the pimps, the sluts, the drugs, and he just wants to clean up the streets. He's kind of like the original, he's kind of like a wannabe superhero almost, you know? He's kind of like the original Kick-Ass when you think about it. You know, he wanted to be a superhero, he got in shape, and the harsh reality struck him down. Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry. This is a phenomenal movie. The Town, one of the biggest surprises in cinema to me in the late years. And I love heist movies, and this movie definitely gave me what I wanted. You know, the nun scene when they robbed the bank, phenomenal. Hey, Dougie, you want to get out of here? Full Metal Jacket, Blood Work. Perfect World with Kevin Costner, who kidnaps a young boy in his underwear. Shutter Island, The Shining, Hannibal, which could have been a lot better. Silence of the Lambs. Oh yeah, she was a big old fat lady, wasn't she? Well, it tickle you when your dad is laying on the slab. Sorry, Buffalo Bill, one of my favorite characters of all time. That fucking, could you imagine being stuck in a room with a real life Buffalo Bill? Dawn of the Dead, kind of a good remake. Zack Snyder definitely did what he should have with this movie. The Sixth Sense, one of the creepiest movies you can watch. Cape Fear, Bad Lieutenant, one of the best Nicolas Cage performances ever. Especially when he's smoking a crack rock out in the parking lot. Come back here, watch your girlfriend. What's the matter? Your daddy didn't go to enough school plays, huh? Halloween, one of the best. I'm sorry. Halloween, one of the best horror films of all time. Definitely, this is what defines slasher horror films that are made with quality. Clockwork Orange. There's hair all over this. What the fuck? Raging Bull, Inside Man, another great heist movie that's smart and it was different. Ocean's 13, Ocean's 11, which is another. I'm guessing I'm in my. I guess I can't talk right now. I guess I'm in my heist movie area here. Ocean's 11, one of my favorite heist movies. Also, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. This is probably my favorite overall Western movie of all time. I just love the music. Down, down, now. Ah, you know, I listen to that sometimes. And then The Last Samurai, Tom Cruise. The Fighter, Wall Street, G.I. Joe. I'm sorry. Zombieland. The thing about Zombieland, I completely loved the movie until they meet up with Emma Stone and Little Miss Sunshine. Not to say after that's bad, it's not. But I don't know, I wanted more of Jesse Eisenberg just kind of being solo in the movie. Jaws. I reviewed this movie a week ago, and I swam around in my pool with a little plastic shark. I love this movie. This is one of the best Blu-ray transfers I've seen, and this is a movie that scared an entire generation into going in the water. And this is probably one of the best movies of all time, honestly. If you had to look at it from a cinematic perspective. And Life on Blu-ray. Phenomenal Blu-ray. Picture quality, this is gonna... If you don't own like an HD TV or a Blu-ray player, this movie can make you change your mind. Also, I like this the Life series a little bit better, a little bit more than the Planet Earth series, just because I'm more interested in like moving creatures like lizards and fucking birds and that dance around and try to impress their mate by building a little bird nest. I wish humans were as simple as that. Hey, come over here. Look at this. I put all these little red pillows and feathers over here, and I put a turkey leg down here. Does this turn you on? You know, in the animal kingdom, it does. So anyway, guys, did I not talk about any of these? I didn't talk about any of these Blu-rays right here. Oh, shit. Okay. I was just about to wrap up the video. Okay, 50-50, a great movie about cancer, and it's warm-hearted, but it balances it all perfectly. 30 minutes or less, a movie about delivering pizzas. I can see myself being that guy, because I was that guy for a long time. Ladybugs. Hey, you know, I give her no respect. Hangover, Sucker Punch. I kind of don't want this anymore. I didn't like it. Wedding Crashers, The Other Guys, forgettable. She's Out of My League, Due Date, Old School, Camp Nowhere, one of my favorite 90s movies. Just a movie that you wish that was a reality when you were a kid. Bridesmaids, my girlfriend loves this movie. Bad Teacher, Cameron Diaz looked okay in that movie. Super Troopers, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, a movie that I thought was, before watching it, I thought it was just going to be like a romantic comedy, and then I seen it, I was like, holy shit. Dodgeball, Christmas Vacation, probably overall my favorite vacation movie. Youth and Revolt. When that girl asked him to put the tanning lotion on, it did something. Superbad, one of my favorite comedies of all time, because I was kind of like Seth in this movie, and I had a friend like Michael Cera. Like, we had that same kind of relationship. Mrs. Doubtfire, Edward Scissorhands. That's my scissors. Juno, a movie that... yeah. Horrible Bosses, Stand By Me, one of my favorite movies of all time. Best coming-to-age movie ever. This movie always made me want to walk down the train tracks looking for a dead body, and I'm actually River Phoenix, but I have a best friend named Gordy, but then we also have another friend who's kind of crazy named Teddy, who has glasses on that his father used to beat him, but then we have that kind of one friend who lost his pennies under his house, and he comes along too. Roadhouse, Patrick Swayze plays a bouncer. He has a mullet. This is a very bad movie, but I've always loved it because my dad was into Patrick Swayze movies, and I grew up with them, so... Plus, women back in the 80s and 90s thought Patrick Swayze was hot. And, I always secretly wanted to be Patrick Swayze. Scott Pilgrim, Real Steel, Insomnia, 21 Jump Street, which was, in my opinion, one of the biggest surprises of the year, being a very good movie. Mean Streets, the Lethal Weapon collection, Footloose. I always want to dance. I want to dance in a warehouse. Break a bear bottle and dance in a warehouse. I will do that before I die. RoboCop. I hope the remake's good. I'm hearing a lot of negative things about it though. Blade, an underrated comic book movie. When you look at Blade, Batman Begins had a lot of influences from Blade. I know that sounds weird, but David S. Goyer, who helped write Batman Begins or whatever, you could really see that he pulled a lot of inspiration from Blade. And this movie was rated R. You know, it actually had balls. So, Saturday Night Fever. I really like everything about this movie except for the dancing. I know it sounds weird, but I like when the young John Travolta's character, you know, he's up in his room and he wears a trash bag down to the dinner table because he doesn't want to get any stains on his shirt. The Deer Hunter. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, one of the best high school movies ever made. American Graffiti, the Ninja Turtles trilogy. The only one I love number one. Part 2 is very campy and corny. I mean, when you put Vanilla Ice in a movie, there's only so much you can say good about it. Part 3 was just atrocious. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the original, which I liked, but I liked the American remake a little bit more. Hellraiser and Children of the Corn, Spartacus, The Ten Commandments, Crazy Stupid Love. My girlfriend liked this movie, so I bought it. Okay. Ghost, another Patrick Swayze movie. I would love to set with Demi Moore and make pottery. Cool Hand Luke, Psycho, The French Connection, The Never-Ending Story, which looks like shit on Blu-ray, but you know what? It makes me want to ride a big white giant dragon, a luck dragon, I believe. Over the Top, Winner takes all, loser takes the fall. And if you have no taste, you might like over the top like me. Limitless. Gran Torino. What the fuck? I sound like Macho Man Randy Savage, not Clint Eastwood. I can't even do I can't do the voice anymore. Casino. Speed. Carlito's Way. The Departed, another great Scorsese movie. American Psycho. I based my entire life on American Psycho. If I was rich in the 1980s, I would have been Patrick Bateman. A self-obsessed asshole who has to return some videotapes. And I have a few more movies here. Come on. There we go. Total Recall. Train Spotting, which I watched for the first time just about 4 months ago and really loved it. Menace to Society. A guy like me would not survive too long in what do they call it? What do they call their neighborhood? I sound very white right now, don't I? I just wouldn't survive very long. They would kill me. Training Day, and I think that's it. I think that's all I have. Shit. Okay, I'm done. I can go to bed now. Anyway, guys, those are all my Blu-rays, and if you guys want to check out the DVD part of my collection, click that button up there. Anyway, guys, let me know your opinions, your thoughts on these Blu-rays, or whatever you want to talk about down below. Now I have to clean all these up and put them back on the shelf, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.